Hi and welcome to another gaming video, and in today's video I want to talk about the PlayStation 4 versus the PlayStation 5 and what my personal thoughts on it. Now I have to say that I wrote most of these notes before I'd even played on a PS5. This video script has been sitting in my notebook for quite some time, and recently I've had a hands-on experience of the PlayStation 5. So I'd quite often refer to the PS5 as the PS4 Pro, as it seems to not offer much more than the PS4. So we're just going to look at specs, and specs are a bit odd. You can't do a direct comparison, but it gives you a general idea. So the PS4 was released in 2013, the PS5 was released in 2020. The PS4 has a 1.6 GHz 8-core processor with a 3.5 GHz 8-core processor in the PS5. 500 gig or even a terabyte hard drive in the PS4 versus a 1 terabyte SSD. They're capable of 1.8 teraflops in the PS4 and 10.5 teraflops in the PS5. 8 gig of GDDR5 RAM in the PS4 and 16 gig of GDDR6 in the PS5, and yeah, that's about it spec wise. And you can just by the figures you can see that the PS5 is quite a bit faster and quite a bit more powerful, and specs wise, yeah, it does look impressive. And now that I've been able to compare the two, my daughter has upgraded from a PS4 to a PS5. Yeah, okay, there's a graphical difference. Is it huge? We were looking at NBA 2K23. Now, she had that on her PS4, and then she upgraded to the PS5 version, and certainly it looks a lot better. And the other game that we were comparing to is My First Gran Turismo. Played that on the PS4 as well as the PS5, and or maybe it's just me, maybe it's just my age, or maybe it's just because I don't think everything boils down to how it looks graphically. Yes, you can notice a difference. Is it enough to pull people across? I've said this in previous videos. Generational jumps have sort of slowed down over the last sort of few generations, and you just don't see them. I mean, going from a PS2 to a PS3 was insane. That you could definitely tell there was such a big improvement. Going from the PS3 to the PS4, a big improvement, but not as big as the previous one. And going from the 4 to the 5, I just don't think it is that much of a jump. And there's an awful lot of games that are still being released on the PS4 and the PS5, and that just proves that the 4 is very, very capable. The 5 is just a sort of like a speed bump. It's not a massive leap. If it was a huge leap, we wouldn't still be seeing games released on the PS4 5 years into the life of the PS5. Things like Black Ops 6. Okay, it doesn't look as good on the PS4, but it's there, and it's proof that the 5 isn't as a bigger step as it should have been. So if you've got a PS4 and you're thinking about buying a PS5, I wouldn't tell you not to, but I just wouldn't expect that massive leap. I mean, it's great that you can play your PS4 games on a 5, so it keeps that rolling, but it's the fact that they're releasing games on the 4 still that it really shows that there isn't a huge difference between the PS4 and the PS5. Don't even get me started on the PS5 Pro. That's another console. So yeah, you've got the PS4, you've got the PS4 Pro, which is a even closer sort of console to the PS5, and then you've got the PS5 and the PS5 Pro. But we're looking here at the PS4 and the PS5, and while on paper the PS5 might look massively impressive compared to the PS4, I just don't think it is as big a jump, and there's not any need for people to rush out and flock to the new system. It's one of these weird sort of conundrums. If they don't release games for the PS4, then the PS5 will grow, but they're still releasing games for the 4 because it's just a technical masterpiece, really, and they don't want to let it go. There's so many people still holding on to the 4. If they didn't hold on to the 4, then the 5. Oh, it's one of those things. Stop releasing games for the 4, and people will buy a 5, but they haven't. So people are still holding on to the 4, and then more games companies are building games for the 4 still, just to try and sort of keep that user base. The long and the short of this video is that the PS4 and the PS5 I don't think are really that much different. Let me know what you think. Link, like, subscribe, enjoy.